Brooklyn, New York. So yesterday we talked a little bit about Dharma. What's the proper attitude to approach Vrindavan when you go there? As you remember, we should have a service attitude. And while we are there, I want to say one of the highest services, but actually the highest services, I should say, is Nam Bhajan, is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion of Rupa Goswami, and in the section of Vaidhi Bhakti, 64 angas or limbs of bhakti are described, and out of the 64 there's a panch angam, 5 main limbs of bhakti which are most prominent, and they are chanting the holy names of the Lord, residing in the Dham, studying Bhagavatam, associating with the devotees, and worshipping Archa Vigraha, the deity form of the Lord. So if one performs these 5 activities, automatically he will develop bhav, or ecstatic symptoms. So residing in the Dham, that's very residing in the Dham, just by being in Vrindavan, or Mayapur Dham, you don't even have to do much. Actually, you don't have to do anything, because you're breathing the air, you're breathing the Brajaraj, the dust of Vrindavan, and it will affect your consciousness. And you see that the people who live there naturally develop love for Radha and Krishna, attraction for Radha and Krishna. And the same is true for Mayapur Dham. And out of the 5, we hear from Bhaktivinoda Thakur and many of our acharyas that these 5 angas, 5 limbs of bhakti, chanting the holy name is the most powerful. So, but you should know there are different degrees of chanting. Okay? It's a little bit of truth about Nam Tattva. You know, the philosophy of the holy name, the science of the holy name. We heard so many times from Srila Prabhupada that you follow these 4 regulative principles and chant 60 rounds, and at the end of your life, you will go back home to Godhead, back to Krishna. I guarantee. Srila Prabhupada guarantees this. So, many times we always just take it for granted, but very easily. You know, we just chant 60 rounds and follow the 4 regs, and that's all you have to do. But Srila Prabhupada mentioned one detail there. And chant 16 rounds purely. Okay? Not just 16 rounds of snick, snick, schnack, schnack, snick, snick, schnack, schnack, and hey, kitty, 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 all kind of stuff. And your mind can wander everywhere, and just automatically, like a robot, you're chanting mechanical words. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in this This book about Nam Bhajan Harinam Chintamani, right? That when one chants the three grades graduation of the holy name, Aparadnam, Abhasnam, and Shuddhanam. So Aparad, we all know, means offense. If you offend the holy name, you don't follow the four regulative principles, and then there are the 10 offenses against the holy name, then our chanting will be considered aparad. Hey, Lala! He's louder than me, so. So if we chant the holy name and we commit offenses in the same time, then our chanting will have no effect. It is described that when one chants Aparad Nam, it is only the mundane syllables will come out of one's mouth, leave one's lips. It's not actually the holy name. And the desired effect of Krishna Prema is not there. Bahujamma karyadi shravana kirtana tabutara pade Krishna pade prema dana, stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. One can chant the holy name for millions of births, but if he commits offenses, he will not get the desired effect, which is Krishna Prema. So we can go on for millions of births, and we will not go back to Krishna. We will not understand Krishna, feel His presence whatsoever. Then the next stage is Abhasnam. You understand this word Abhas? Means a mirror, not shadow, but like a reflection. It's not the real thing, although it looks like the real thing. It already has assumed the form of the real thing. Example is given: the sun is rising in the horizon. The first thing you see is light. So you can compare the holy name to the light. There's some light coming up. It's not dark anymore, some light coming up. And then Abhasnam is when the first rays of the sun will appear in the horizon. And Shuddhanam, the pure name, is when you see the whole sun globe fully appear in the horizon. So what does it mean in our chanting that we chanting a reflection of the holy name? That means we consciously and carefully avoid the offenses, but we still have not received Krishna's mercy. We have not received Nam Prabhu's mercy. Okay? Like I said in class this morning, yesterday also, bhakti is independent and doesn't depend on karma or gyan. Krishna reserves the right to give himself. And so therefore we really have to not just avoid the offenses, but we really have to cry out sincerely. Srila Prabhupada explains and chanting should be done as a child is crying out for his mother, right? Because the child can be only, a young baby can only be pacified when the mother holds him. Any other person can pick up the child and try to quiet him, but he will be not peaceful until the mother holds him. Your mothers know this fact, right? So that the child needs the mother. So similarly, we, or any living entity, we need Krishna. And when we get Krishna, then we get pacified, become peaceful. So, but until then, we have to cry out and like a child, you know. The mothers, you know, the children are very impatient. They're They don't care about anything. They just want to get what they want. I want it, and I want it now. And if I don't get it, I will cry and make a lot of noise. So we should be like that also. What is that saying that? Please correct me if I'm wrong. That the quack that, no, the duck that quacks the loudest gets the buck. Something to that effect. So the louder and the more desperate you are. Actually, it is described you should have this lobha. It's the symptom or devotion, beginning stages. Lobha means greed. And we all know greed is a bad thing, right? But no, greed is a bad thing for material things. We should get enough material things just to maintain body and soul together. But we should be very greedy, employ greed in the service of Krishna. We should be greedy for Krishna. We should be greedy to get Krishna's mercy. And so when we chant, in that manner, with that intensity, with that desperation, helplessness, and that Krishna is my ultimate shelter, nobody else will ever make me peaceful and happy. Then we get Krishna's attention. And then when we get Krishna's attention, there's a chance, there's a very good chance, that he will extend his hand. And then when he extends his hand, then it is described that the holy name, which is Krishna himself, he will appear on our tongue and dance on our tongue. And then that is when Krishna is present, when we chant his holy name on our tongue, that is Shuddhanam, that's the pure name. So before that, we cannot say that we actually ever chanted Krishna's name. We have chanted the Abhasnam, the reflection, only the sun rays, but it's not the person in himself. And before that, when we chanted offenses, there is Aparadnam, so that's very far. And if we want to preach and give the holy name to others, then we should understand that when you chant Aparadnam, the only effect you're getting, and anybody who participates in that kirtan, is that material auspiciousness. Okay? Your material problems and sufferings are solved. You become happy and joyful, etc. But no spiritual results. Love of Krishna, this Bhaktilata beach is not water. It's not sprouting. When we chant Abhasna, the medium stage, then whoever hears our chanting will develop faith. Because by then, we developed enough faith and desire to attain pure devotional shraddha, pure devotional faith. And we are resolute in our purpose and goal, and we are dedicated, determined to achieve our goal. And it's very contagious. Whoever hears that, it will touch his heart, her heart. And immediately he will feel the same. But when one chants Shuddhana, the hearer, listener of that kirtan will be elevated immediately to the bhav stage, the platform of bhav. External symptoms will... And I've seen one of my spiritual masters, Shiksha Guru Ayendra Prabhu, when he was chanting, I saw himself, he was there standing on erect, and people were become ecstatic on the spot and start crying and so many external symptoms. And there was a whole different world when he opened his mouth. And the holy name was coming. It was Krishna's presence right there, right at that moment. And it was so powerful. It was not a musical experiment, experience. It was a purely spiritual experience, and that's what made it so attractive. And of course he was musically very talented, but that was just a bonus to it. We are not musicians. This chanting is not about music, although it is in one sense, because we try to do our best for Krishna's pleasure. Whatever capacity we have, skill we have, we try to engage it in Krishna's service for His pleasure. But that's not the ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is to offer our hearts and soul to Krishna. And you don't have to be a musician, and many of us, we are not musicians, or most of us, or I'm not so much of a musician myself. And the most important thing is consciousness. You know, we often say that Krishna consciousness is not a change of dress, it's a change of heart. You know, you have to become selfless instead of selfish. We have been selfish for so many lifetimes, millions and innumerable lifetimes. So Srila Prabhupada says, even through so many lifetimes, just give this one life to Krishna. Just try it. You know, we have so many lifetimes in the past, and we have so many lifetimes in the future. Just try one day. These are called kata boy disease. Very tricky. So that's how we preach, and his method was, he said we should teach and preach to others just like Prabhupada Saraswati. His method was, my dear sir, you're so great, you're so learned, educated, you're so good looking, and you're so wealthy. But for now, forget all this and just accept the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So, do you have any questions at this point, or should we just go change? Anything you want to ask? Any details? Don't be shy. It's all clear about now, Tattva?
So, does everyone go through these 3 stages, or can one directly go to the middle stage and then upper stage? How does it work? So does everyone start with your chanting and then gradually?
You read Bhagavad Gita. One purport, Srila Prabhupada says that this Krishna consciousness can take one moment, or it can take lifetimes. It's just a matter of realizing and applying the method. You're given independence, it is your free will how much you surrender. Okay. And there are factors which were brought by our sinful reactions in the past, which will make it more difficult for us. That means you have to tighten the belt, stronger, bite the bullet. It will be more difficult. But the more difficult it is, the more pleased Krishna becomes. Often we hear, oh, it's a gradual process. But the fact is, it is as gradual as you want to make it. You know? So we can blame it, oh, it's a gradual process, but you can become Krishna conscious in a matter of a moment. There's nobody to blame but ourselves. Nobody's holding you back. Nobody can hold you back if you're serious, if you're real. Yes?
Hare Krishna. Valmiki even did not chant the holy name. He chants, Valmiki did not even chant the holy name. He chants reverse of it. So which category you will consider his process of bhakti?
I have not thought about it.
Can I make a comment?
Please go ahead.
Holy names are transcendental. In any way, anybody, anywhere chants, he gets the transcendental results. Example is of a Muslim mullah. He had gone to forest for nature, and there was a pig trying to eat a stool. So out of anger, this mullah said, "Haram Zadeh, get away from here." And then after the death, this mullah found himself in Goloka. So he said, "I'm a Muslim, I'm a theist, I don't believe in anything. How come I have been given this position?"
Where is this from?
This is told by many Maharajas, this story. So they said, "You have chanted holy name once, Haram, Ram. So you are elevated."
Terrible, right?
Right.
Urdu, so anyway, but the story up there of Ajamila in the Bhagavatam,
Yes.
and he was definitely a Nama Paradi. He committed so many sinful activities. He fell down from his Brahminical platform. And but at the time of his death, he was chanting the name of Narayan because his son sins. But unintentionally, he was chanting the holy name of the Lord. So at that moment when he was chanting, he was not committing sinful activities. And the Vishnu Dutas, they accepted. He's chanting as Nam Abbas, but not as the pure. So one then unintentionally, without conscious, without knowledge, chants the holy name. That's on the Nam Abbas platform. I wouldn't go as far to state that one would go like this to Golok Vrindavan. But there's definitely good saving from hell, like in the case of Ajam the Bhagavatam. Because the Vishnu Dutas they came and carried him.
Correct.
Krishna is not so easy.
I've heard it said that one of the worst things that can affect our chanting